Hey troops, GeneralJSmith here, back with a showcase of Clone Army Customs Commander Cody. Recently, I made quite a large order from a third market seller known as Clone Army Customs, which, as you may be able to tell from the name, of course, sells custom minifigures and or weapons, such as clone troopers, stormtroopers, and I think there are some superheroes in there as well. Starting off, I am going to be showcasing Commander Cody. I'm not sure when this minifigure was released. There are a few things I've noticed that this minifigure doesn't have, which some of the newer ones do have, so I presume this isn't the newest version of him, like it's not as if he made this a week ago. That being said, it is the only one I can find on the site, so I'm going to be showcasing him right here. I've bought several clones, notably, mainly because they will be in stop motions and mocks and future things such as that. Bit of a spoiler for future things to come. But anyway, so we can start off with CT2224, otherwise known as Commander Cody. I'm kind of debating whether he is the most well-known clone out of all of them, but that's purely because he was the only one mentioned in any of the films. Every other clone, including Rex and Wolf and everyone, was only mentioned in like the cartoons, like maybe Clone Wars, or if they're lucky, Star Wars Rebels. Other than that, they were never mentioned, so I suppose you could say he is the most notable clone just because the only one we've actually had in live action. The minifigure itself then, this minifigure, I'm not entirely sure if this was the newest version of him. I mean, I think it probably was. It's the only one I could want to find on the site. However, there are a few things about him which I'm not going to say are bad or missing, but rather just some of the newer minifigures have some certain elements that this one does not have. So for that reason, I presume he is not incredibly new. Of course, though, his printing does hold up very well and is significantly better than Lego's Commander Cody, which I'll compare in a moment. So, starting off from the bottom, going to the top, we're going to start off with the legs. The legs are fairly simple, not a lot to say there. I mean, of course, as I've said a few times in the past when Lego has made minifigures, there's only so much really Lego or anyone can do with certain minifigures, because some minifigures just don't have a lot of printing. There's not a lot of detail to them. For example, there's minifigures that wear all black with just a lot of wrinkles in their robes and stuff. There's not a lot of detail. And it's the same sort of thing with clone troopers. While they may have different colors and slightly different designs, overall they're almost pretty similar, because of course they all wear pretty much the same armor, which is why in my personal opinion the helmet does mean a lot, but we'll go more into that when I get up there. Anyway, so the printing here is very nice. One thing I will say, as I said in the beginning, that this does not have, but other minifigures do, is printing on the legs around the side and the back. Now this isn't a big issue in my personal opinion. It is still better than Legos. Of course, Legos, we didn't even get any leg printing in the first place, so it's definitely an improvement, but nonetheless it's just sort of thing I noted. Now I'm not really bashing them for this, because as I said, I don't know when this was released, and I'm, you know, and again, of course, as with many clone troopers, there's not really a massive amount you could put around here, but just some perhaps little lines for such as boots or things that would have been nice, but it's really an improvement over Legos anyway, so it's not the biggest deal. The legs, of course, are not really the reason I buy anything, but you do see the color markings there as well, so very nice. Moving up to the torso. The torso, in my personal opinion, is also reasonably basic. There's not a massive amount of difference between this and, say, like a regular Phase 2 trooper from Clone Army Customs as well, other than, of course, the markings. But, that being said, I'm not, again, bashing Clone Army Customs, because you can't really put a lot there. There's not a massive amount of detail on Commander Cody's torso. That being said, one thing notable, which I didn't realize, was the fact you see this pouch is orange, this one is not. Of course, in Legos, they are both orange, and I kind of just assume they're both orange, because that just makes symmetrical sense, but of course, I never really studied Commander Cody enough to know if there was actually a difference. I presume there actually is, because of course, they have put a difference. I assume they wouldn't just make it up. So that's very nice. Very nice detailing there, but nothing massively special. Pretty cool. I think where this minifigure really comes to its own is the arms. I really love the arms on this and pretty much all minifigures. I suppose it's partially because Lego does not put arm printing for whatever reason. I guess it's probably just more expensive. But anyway, so this one does come with arm printing. It does not come with a communicator, because you may or may not be aware, if you've seen the Clone Wars, they have, you know, these comm links on their wrists. I can't remember if they're right or left wrists. I can't remember, but either way. That's a little detail they could have added, but again, I presume this minifigure is not incredibly new, and I believe they might have added that on some newer ones. I'm not entirely sure, but in case they haven't, that's just, you know, a way to improve, because of course there's a way to improve everything. There's so many ways I can improve my videos, but anyway. So the printing on the arms is very, very nice. You've got a little bit of grey there, not grey, what's that called, brownish grey? I don't really know, really, but it's that kind of thing to really add. Now, one thing you may be aware, that of course in the film, and if you have like an actual action figure of him, with an antenna on this arm, I understand why Lego and Clone Customs could not put that on, because the detailing on that would just be ridiculous. I only see those sort of things on minifigures from those who make their own, like own specific custom minifigures, rather than those who actually run companies. So I fully understand why Clone Customs could not put an antenna on that arm, so it's no big deal whatsoever. A thing that I also kind of wish was a little improved was the back. The back is very nice, but in all honesty, one of the things notable about Commander Cody is his backpack. At least that's one thing I've noticed a lot. I think his backpack looks really cool because it is significantly unique to any other sort of backpack. It's not like a regular sort of thing that all of them carry. It's not a jetpack. It's not like the Commando sort of backpack. It is very unique. That being said, however, I don't really expect them to make a whole backpack just for Commander Cody, so I do understand why they didn't. But it just looks a little plain back here. And as well as the fact that this is completely white, and of course the belt itself is also white. The belt piece, I mean, rather, like, you know, the thing that connects their legs is also white, whereas on most LEGO minifigures, you can see on the back, it is black. That rhymed. So it just looks a little blank to me on the back, but it's not the biggest deal. I mean, I'll mostly be looking in the front anyway. And now the piece of resistance of pretty much all minifigures is the helmet. The helmet is very, very nice, by the way, if you're interested. He's just got a black head, because I just bought a black head, because I don't really care enough about, you know, the face. Or at least not on custom ones. I can put my own face. Anyway, yeah, so the helmet is very, very nice. Of course, the same mold as all other Phase 2 helmets. He also comes with an orange visor, which is like we never got in LEGO. We only got this pathetic grey one. One thing I will say, the LEGO one does move up and down. This one does not, although in my personal opinion, that's not really a deal whatsoever. In fact, I kind of prefer this one because it's stuck more in place. That being said, though, it is a little flimsy. There have been times when I've grabbed it by the helmet and accidentally popped it off, and especially because this is so small, it can get lost, the visor. So, you know, that's a little thing. One thing I do like, though, is the fact it comes, you can attach it without attaching it to the holes, whereas, of course, you need to attach the visor to the holes in the side. Oops, you can't see that. Which also means you can't put any extra stuff on there. With this, however, you can. You can put antennas, you can put range finders, you can put lights, and all different stuff. You can put whatever you want on there, and of course, it is LEGO compatible, which is very, very cool. So I'm glad they added it without having to take away the holes. I think it's a really nice feature. On the top of the helmet, you can see there, these, I think, are actually 3D elements. I mean, they're not on this minifigure, but in terms of like the actual thing, they are meant to be 3D. And again, this is something more customized. Like, those who customize their own thing, they can do that. But really, this would be very hard to do for a company, so I fully understand why they couldn't do that with, you know, mass production minifigures, why they had to make it 2D. So that's completely fine. But yeah, I did buy a few weapons. Of course, with every minifigure you do get some free weapons, although in all honesty, the weapons can vary very much, so it's not as if, you know, I really need to showcase the weapons, but the weapons are very cool. But I think they're more brick arms anyway. I don't entirely know. I'm not sure if they make them or it's brick arms or some other site. But the point is, yeah, the weapons I got were also very cool, but I mean, you know, the main bit is the minifigure, basically. But yeah, so Commander Cody, very, very nice minifigure. Just want to go over a few little things. This one, of course, is, you know, I think we'll agree, this one's far superior. But my question is not if it's superior, or how much it's superior. In terms of this one, I looked on eBay. You can get this one for about £10, or Bricklink, you can get it for about £6. I bought this for about $30, I believe, maybe a bit more, I don't remember. That's £25, £22, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But the point is this worth that much more than this one, you know? In a nutshell, yes. Partially because you can only get this one for Phase 1, because LEGO never made a Phase 2 version. Why? I don't know, but nonetheless. So I would say this is definitely worth picking up. Even if you have this, I would worth picking this one up, because it's Phase 2. Very, very nice printing. Vast improvements. I mean, look at the arms. There's no detail in the arms whatsoever. The torso is also pathetic compared to Clone Customs. So yes, I would recommend it. Even if you already have this one, then yes, I would still recommend it. But overall, only a few minor complaints, which weren't really complaints to the minifigure as such, more just sort of comparisons to other minifigures they've made that are newer. So of course, you know, you can't really compare an old thing to a new thing. Again, I don't know how old this is. Maybe they made it last week. I doubt it. But yeah, so, you know, some of the new minifigures do have newer sort of elements in terms of printing around the legs and stuff like that. But that's not really, I'm not bashing them whatsoever. I got so much hate because I bashed them in that rip-off video thing. It was all a joke, guys. But anyway, yeah, that is it. Link to where you can buy this minifigure, and of course the site will be down in the description. Thank you for watching. There's no box or instructions to review, so I'll just go on the next minifigure. The next minifigure will be Commander Wolf, so stay tuned for that. Very nice minifigure, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. That is it. Bye, troops. Hey troops, GeneralJSmith here, back with another showcase. This is another, it's my first one. Hey troops, GeneralJSmith here, back with my, Hey troops, General, oh, there's too many syllables in my name. Hey troops, GeneralJSmith here, back, say it right, John. I bought recently a Commander Blast. Hey troops, GeneralJSmith here, back with another show. Hey troops, Hey troops, GeneralJSmith here, back with another showcase.